Hello, beautiful dancers. I am here to give you some tips and tricks for finding balance in this phrase of movement. I also have a couple of variations for you to explore if that straddle isn't quite accessible just yet. The first thing I would like to talk about is that first step. When you take the first step of this phrase of movement, you want to make sure that you're stepping over to the opposite side of the pole, holding external rotation through that hip. Think of your hip as a steering wheel. When it's externally rotated in towards the pole, that is the direction that you will be pivoting. When you pivot, be sure to keep the weight out of the heel. Once you've thread the opposite leg through, we want to change the alignment of our hips and spine, coming into an anterior tilt so we can use the QL to lift the side of the hip up towards the rib cage. We want to follow the weight of the extension through our spine and connect the pole just above the glutes. Keep pivoting on your supporting leg until the heel of your shoe or your foot faces the front. Increase the extension in your spine to feel more weight press back in towards the pole. Coming into our straddle, be sure to bring the upper body forward. Think of your upper body wanting to travel through your legs. There's a lot of flexion happening through the trunk of your body. To create a wider straddle, engage that side glute for optimal abduction. Be sure to maintain the contact point of the pole sitting just above those hips. Begin to push the top leg back, engaging glute for extension through the front of the hip. Leaning in towards the pole and still creating a decent amount of extension through the spine. The weight in your lower body wants to be very counterbalanced. Feeling the distribution of weight in the supporting leg over to one side of the pole and the weight of your top leg over to the opposite side of the pole. As we tilt the upper body down and replace our hands, you'll feel much more extension through the lower half of the body, including your hips. You also want to feel a decent amount of lateral flexion to assure that your weight stays in towards the pole. To come back into straddle, hold those connection points and create flexion once again through the trunk of your body coming into straddle. A nice way to come out is to bend the knee, creating flexion from knee to toe, then focusing on internally rotating the hip, guiding that knee towards the supporting leg. At this point, your upper body is traveling back and there is extension occurring through the spine. Your chest is opening away from the pole. At the same time that top leg is traveling down, we're going to begin to contract the obliques to assist in lifting our body upright. You want to feel the connection of the pole from hip to the side of your body all the way up to the side of your rib cage. Let's talk about how the arms can assist in your balance. Your outside hand will be placed above your inside hand as we step into this phrase. As we pivot, we want to be sure that we are aiming to place the pole right in towards the armpit, connecting towards the side of the rib cage and the bicep. As we finish our pivot on the supporting leg and begin for extension, we want to feel the adduction happening in that top arm. Think of pushing your bicep in towards the pole. As we extend back and lean in towards the pole, the outside arm can begin to circle around, aligning the index finger down towards the base. We want to keep that top arm pulling down, concentrically engaging the bicep to remain close towards the pole, creating contrast with the bottom arm as we push, engaging the tricep. Allow that bottom hand to slide down as we come into our straddle. Activate mid and lower trap to keep the shoulders in a state of depression. As we transition into our straddle, notice the placement of shoulders and hips. Our shoulders want to be either level to our hips or perhaps just slightly above. As we transition into our standing split, retract the scapula and begin to bend that bottom arm. As we begin to tilt the upper body towards the supporting leg, we move through a state of eccentric engagement through the top arm and concentric engagement through the bottom. Feeling resistance through the top arm and that shoulder, and tension through the bottom arm, the bicep. Work to adduct the bottom arm. Think of pulling your elbow in towards the pole or supporting leg. As you increase the tilt, feel free to slide that bottom hand up a little higher. As we find our balance and security, we can begin to release the top arm. Be sure to hold the engagement through the glutes, not only for extension through the front of the hip, but to ensure that our weight stays counterbalanced. At this point, you can begin to experiment with releasing one arm or both arms if you feel comfortable. As we begin to ascend, keep your weight traveling in towards your pole as you reach that top arm back up above the hip. Lead with an external rotation through that top shoulder so that your bicep is guided back behind the pole. Begin to push with the bottom arm and pull with the top arm, sliding that top hand a little higher as we come back into our straddle. Reposition the arms to where they once were while maintaining depression through the shoulders. Soften the bottom arm, slightly bending the elbow. This will help for more extension in the spine. Slide the bottom hand up towards the knee in any grip you prefer. Begin to push and pull with that top arm to finish the phrase. The important part about this phrase is that not only are we using our bodies to find our balance, but we are also relying on the support of the pole. We want to maintain those contact points and transition slowly into each shape. Should this phrase feel unattainable or uncomfortable, do not worry, I have a couple other variations. The engagement and alignment will stay the same. The only few things that will change are the shapes that we're creating, how far we want to tilt, and whether or not we want to release that top arm. We still want the same points of contact, and we still want to lean in towards our pole, relying on our state of flexion and extension to distribute our weight. I'm now demonstrating this variation side profile using the same entry. Once we have finished our rotation and have placed our arms accordingly, we're still going to move through a state of flexion through the trunk of our body, except we're only going to extend our leg to wherever is comfortable. As long as there's energy running from hip to toes, these lines will be equally as beautiful. Think of gazing over that top hip or shin. Adjust the alignment of your body by taking that top leg back and aligning the trunk of your body to face the floor. Keep the placement of the pole above that inside glute. Softly bending the knee, pulling the top knee in towards the bottom. As we slowly detach the top arm, begin to slide the bottom arm upwards towards the hip. Twist the upper part of your trunk towards the pole, maintaining maximum contact. Replace the top arm down towards the base, on the floor or on your leg, whatever feels accessible. Slowly begin to bring the toe to the ground behind the supporting leg. The majority of your weight will remain in the supporting leg. Replace the adducted arm while aligning the index finger towards the base. Push through the arm to assist in lifting your body upright. Then add a bit of extension through the spine to maintain more contact. Reposition the top arm and begin to pull up and in towards the pole. Be sure your bicep is still remaining behind. I have another variation for you to play with. After we have positioned our supporting leg, our arms, and have made the contact point of pole above hip, we're going to extend the leg so the toe is directed towards the ground, still creating flexion through the trunk and lifting that top hip towards the rib cage. Transitioning immediately by pulling the free leg in towards the supporting leg, holding a soft bend. The top arm will remain on the pole. Option to slide the top hand down to create a more dramatic level. Maintaining lateral flexion to keep our weight shifting in towards the pole and keeping the chest open away from the pole. Opportunity to detach the bottom arm and play with any form of gesture or movement. Replace the bottom hand back to the pole around the same height as your supporting knee. Increase the flexion from knee to toe on the free leg, pulling the heel close into the glute. Follow the external rotation of the hip to guide ourselves back up. I hope any of this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day.